A British court has ordered that London-based chemical trading firm Sacerdoti Limited to pay compensation to families of victims of the 2020 Beirut port explosion. You'll remember, of course, that explosion occurred on the 4th of August 2020 and resulted in the deaths of nearly 220 people, injured over 6,000 and caused extensive damage in Beirut. Sacerdoti Limited is suspected of having delivered the ammonium nitrate, which is a highly explosive material used in fertilizers, to that port in 2013. And the chemical had been improperly stored there for years, with Lebanese documents showing that a handful of senior politicians, judicial and security officials also being aware of the chemicals being stored that way in the port for a long time. Now, the verdict was issued by the High Court of Justice in London on Monday, and that came 4 months after that court ruled that Sacerdoti Limited was liable for the blast. The case was brought forward here in the UK by the Beirut Bar Association because Sacerdoti Limited's registered and based in London. The court ordered the company to pay £100,000, it's around $126,000, to each of 3 plaintiffs who lost family members in the explosion as compensation for emotional damage. And additionally, an injured plaintiff was awarded over £500,000, around $630,000, as compensation for emotional and physical damage, as well as medical expenses.
Some people might find it strange that no one inside Lebanon has been held accountable for this deadly explosion, but thousands of miles away in London, someone is having to pay compensation. Can we expect the company to appeal this decision?
Well, that's right. I mean, the ruling marks a rare judicial success for those families of the victims who've been advocating for unrestricted national investigation into the blast. Some of the families have chosen to file lawsuits abroad because of the obstruction of the Lebanese investigation. The judge, Tarek Bitar, in Lebanon, who's been leading the investigation into the explosion, has found that his work's been halted since December 2021, pending a ruling from the Court of Cassation, which is the highest court in the land in Lebanon. 3 former cabinet ministers having filed legal challenges against him. And so that court's decision is still awaited. I think this is really just a sign of how those people who've suffered as a result of the explosion and of losing loved ones have had to search for justice outside Lebanon. And we don't know exactly what will happen in terms of the company here because its ownership is still quite opaque.